A drama-filled weekend for the WNBA. We were talking about this at the end of last hour with what happened on Saturday. Angel Reese is a wonderful player, but she does not compare to what and who Caitlin Clark is when she's on the basketball field. Plain and simple.
When Caitlin Clark broke Alyssa Thomas's single-season assist record, she experienced exactly what it would be like to break a league record, and instead of receiving applause, she was met with jeers and alcohol. The worst part is that it only strengthened her desire to learn how Clark used hate to fuel her WNBA dominance.
Angel Reese spoke to the media. She didn't speak to the media after the game against Caitlin Clark, but a member of the Chicago Sky, the national title winner at LSU, and she talked about where all this attention started with her and Caitlin Clark.
Let's speak about that historic moment on September 14th, 2024, when Clark broke Thomas's record with her 321st assist of the season. However, rather than being celebrated, she was met with a barrage of criticism. Can you imagine that a young talent was reaching such greatness, and some people simply couldn't take it?
Started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, like, yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like, just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
This was about a rookie appending the whole WNBA, and seasoned players and commentators were frightened by this 22-year-old phenom. How did Clark react to the pressure from the media? Did she fall or rise above it? Keep an eye out because Clark's response to this hardship is going to astound you.
The Indiana Fever made the playoffs. They didn't play last night, but thanks to Las Vegas with a win over Chicago and Phoenix with a win over Atlanta, the Indiana Fever have their first playoff berth since 2016. 2 years ago, their home attendance was 1,800 fans. Their average this year, home attendance, is 17,000. That's almost 10 times. And, of course, the big difference is Caitlin Clark.
You would assume that shattering records would garner universal acclaim, but Caitlin Clark's star power rose along with the chorus of naysayers. Why did these WNBA analysts and veterans feel so intimidated by a 22-year-old rookie? The league as a whole is being shaken by a mixture of skepticism, jealousy, and fear of change.
Swoops, and how she has been a certified Caitlin Clark hater for about a year now. Up until now, she has not been able to say anything nice about Caitlin Clark, nor has she been able to even speak her name. So for this specific game against the Fever, they replaced her with another WNBA legend, Nancy Lieberman.
Let's begin with when discussing Clark's potential in the WNBA, veteran player Cheryl Swoops wasn't holding back. She voiced doubts about Clark's ability to succeed, implying that her style wouldn't work in the league. She even went so far as to leave Clark's name out of a podcast about other players. It's evident that Clark's influence is having a significant impact.
Ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan.
It's been good season.
They cannot have this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried.
However, players like Angel Reese have escalated their anger to a whole new level, so it's not only the veterans who are feeling the pressure on the court. Reese's behavior towards Clark has been criticized as being unsportsmanlike. She frequently taunts and trash talks during games, as if Clark's presence alone is enough to make her teammates defensive.
Reese made it clear that fans are watching women's basketball not because of, quote, one player, but because of her as well.
But I think Angel Reese is jealous of Caitlin Clark. She thinks she's, the reason why this is all happening here.
Off-court critics and analysts are stoking the flames. Molly Caron maintained that other players should receive equal respect, stating that the greatest players receive the most attention, and at the moment, that is Clark. This comment encapsulates the conflict between Clark's indisputable brilliance and the league's desire for a more balanced narrative.
From the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, like, yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me, too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Then there is Skip This, whose remarks about Clark have been written off as being out of date and irrelevant. Some people think he is just trying to remain relevant by criticizing Clark's accomplishments, but the truth is that even these attempts to minimize Clark's influence only serve to emphasize how important she has become.
Bottom line is, since Caitlin Clark is the one here now, ride the wave. Rising tide lifts all boats, as they say. And that was the argument that I was making. It says fair is a place where they judge pigs. It doesn't exist. It's not about fairness. It's about reality. The reality is that the max contract in the WNBA at this particular moment in time is $250,000 to a player. Caitlin Clark is already committed to $28 million in endorsement.
What's actually happening, then? And why do so many well-known women's basketball personalities appear intimidated by a rookie's success? It all comes down to a fear of change and the uneasiness that comes with watching the game change in front of their eyes. For players who have spent years establishing themselves in the league, Clark's play, ability to draw crowds, and influence on the game's popularity are unprecedented. This quick change can feel like a threat to their legacy and relevance. Clark is not just good. She's redefining what's possible in women's basketball.
Clark was going to get eyeballs whether she played against Angel Reese in LSU or not, because we had not seen anything like this before. Her style of play.
The rigorous examination and critique, some find this advancement exhilarating, but others find it extremely uncomfortable. Clark's struggles aren't limited to her on-court performance. They're a reflection of the larger changes she symbolizes for the WNBA. She's attracting new fans, more media attention, and maybe greater salaries to the league.
Look at the wave that she's created. Look at the profile that it has granted the WNBA. Look at the record ratings they've produced because of her arrival. Once upon a time, they were watching about the audience in Indiana for Indiana Fever games was at about 4,000. Now it's at about 16 to 17,000. The ratings for the WNBA draft was 2.446 million.
It is evident that Clark's participation in the WNBA is altering not just the game, but also the whole women's basketball scene. And the criticism she is receiving is in many respects evidence of the extent of her influence.
So many great players, but maybe they didn't capture your imagination. Caitlin Clark has. People watched. Now everybody wants to have an opinion on this. And that's where it clutters, muddies up everything that the women have tried to do. They've been there, you just haven't noticed. Now you're noticing, and now you have an agenda. Now you have an opinion.
As others spoke, Clark concentrated on one thing: dominating on the court. Her reaction to the criticism was a string of performances that broke records, leaving both opponents and supporters to question whether she was the most significant rookie the WNBA had ever seen.
Clearly not the draw and not the type of player that Clark is. She's a good college, very good college player and a good WNBA player. But that incident in college, LSU, Iowa, took that sport and broke it out. And we spent the entire offseason talking about, can we get a rematch of these two? It set up the senior year for Clark. Now, she is not the star player in this play, Reese, but she has a big element in the past year and a half of basketball.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, she played the role of villain.
Clark's response was in the form of astounding numbers and game-altering performances. For example, during her game against the Phoenix Mercury, Clark scored an incredible 32 points and provided 10 assists, demonstrating her capacity to perform well. Under Pressure was a message rather than just another excellent game.
Doubleheader that opened the season, generated over 1.5 million viewers, which was more than the WNBA had accumulated in more than 2 decades. You have all of this stuff going on. Understand, Caitlin Clark is different. We ain't talking about fairness. We're talking about business.
However, Clark continued to make news when she broke Mo's record for scoring 30 points or more in a row for a moment. Consider that a rookie beat one of the best players in WNBA history. That's the sort of accomplishment that gets you to pay attention.
Angel Reese comes out and says, she ain't the only one everybody's watching. They're watching me too. They're watching others. A day later, she gets ejected.
but it was personal with her. I don't think it was personal with Caitlin Clark, but it was with Angel Reese. She was clearly bothered by Caitlin Clark and the attention.
And on September 10th, 2024, when the game was on the line against the Las Vegas Aces, Clark made a game-winning shot that sent shockwaves through the league. It wasn't just about the 2 points. It was about demonstrating that she could be clutch in crucial moments. If you thought Clark was all about regular season dominance, think again.
People aren't tuning in to watch Angel Reese play basketball. Angel Reese against Caitlin Clark, then they'll watch that. I mean, I love having a rivalry. I said that yesterday. We don't have enough rivalries.
Perhaps the most astounding statistic of all, though, is that Clark became the WNBA's fastest player in history to earn 1,000 career assists in just 75 games. Take that into consideration that he accomplished this feat in less than 2 complete seasons. Clark's name is already inscribed in the WNBA record books.
Now, the WNBA has a right. When Chicago and Indiana play, you'll watch. Like, what are the rivalries in the NBA? Where you go, golly, they don't like each other. What is it?
Load management and the fans.
Yeah, that's the rivalry. There's no, the way it used to be with Philly and the Celtics, or Celtics and the Lakers, or the Knicks against the Celtics. I mean, what is your rivalry? There is none. And I do appreciate a good rivalry.
What's really amazing about Clark's reaction to criticism is her unwavering focus. Rather than becoming enmeshed in the drama or allowing the criticism to impact her performance, she focused all of her energy on improving as a player. Every assist, three-pointer, and game-winning shot served as a silent but impactful response to her detractors.
Apparently, all the accolades that Caitlin Clark is receiving is because she's white, and the jealous players who are attacking her are really the real victims here.
Fans of the league who had previously been doubtful were now paying attention to see what Clark would do next because of her performances, which went beyond simple personal praise. Even some of her most critical detractors couldn't deny the influence she was having on the court.